Betrayal is the only truth that sticks. Arthur Miller. Few things in life leave a lasting mark like betrayal, especially when the one betrayed is a Sigma. Known for their independence, mystery, and calm detachment, Sigmas are the ultimate enigma. Betraying them, that's like trying to play chess with someone who's already 10 moves ahead. Here's a fact. Research shows that emotionally intelligent people like Sigmas are less reactive to conflict, but far more strategic in their responses. So while most people might shout or cry, Sigmas quietly pull the rug out from under you, and by the time you realize it, you're flat on your back, staring at the ceiling, wondering what just happened. But why do people who cross them always end up regretting it? Because Sigmas don't seek revenge, they let life do the dirty work. The twist? They succeed in ways that leave their betrayers not just guilty, but utterly irrelevant. Keep reading to find out how a Sigma's silent strength turns betrayal into a masterclass in regret with a side of poetic justice. Number 1, they make betrayers question their own worth. Betraying a Sigma is like opening a door to self-doubt you didn't even know existed. Sigmas operate on a level of independence and self-awareness that most people can only aspire to. When someone betrays them, it doesn't just damage the relationship, it forces the betrayer to confront their own flaws in the most uncomfortable way possible. Sigmas have an unnerving ability to move on without a shred of bitterness. They don't waste time trying to prove anything or retaliate, and this unbothered attitude creates a stark contrast with the emotional turmoil felt by the one who wronged them. That calm silence, it's deafening. It makes the betrayer wonder, how could they just walk away like that? Did I even matter? What makes it worse is the realization that Sigmas were never reliant on the betrayer in the first place. There's no emotional leverage to exploit, no sense of power over them. Instead, their detachment highlights the weakness and insecurity of the person who betrayed them. Betrayers find themselves spiraling, haunted by the fact that they lost someone who wasn't just unique, but also entirely irreplaceable. The real sting comes when life goes on and the Sigma continues thriving unaffected. While most people would stew in anger or grief, the Sigma quietly uses betrayal as fuel to elevate themselves. Their success becomes a mirror, reflecting the betrayer's shortcomings and making them painfully aware of what they've lost. It's not just regret, it's a gnawing realization that betraying a Sigma wasn't just a moral failure, but a catastrophic miscalculation. It's not just about losing them, it's about losing a part of yourself, knowing they've walked away stronger while you're left questioning everything. Number 2, they sever ties with a rare breed of individual. When you betray a Sigma, you're not just losing a friend, partner, or ally. You're severing ties with someone who is truly one of a kind. Sigmas don't fit neatly into the boxes that society creates. They're not part of the crowd, not bound by the need to please others, and certainly not defined by anyone else's expectations. Their independence and self-sufficiency make them rare in a world where people often cling to validation and external approval. What makes a Sigma so unique is their ability to navigate life on their own terms. They're thinkers, observers, and strategists who thrive without relying on anyone. Unlike people who seek constant attention or approval, Sigmas are comfortable in their own company. This makes them magnetic. They don't chase others, yet people naturally gravitate toward them. To betray someone like this is not only short-sighted, but also self-sabotaging, because you'll never find another person quite like them. The regret comes when you realize just how much value they brought to your life. Sigmas offer perspectives and insights that challenge conventional thinking. They're the kind of people who make you question your assumptions and inspire you to be better, all without demanding anything in return. Losing that influence is like cutting off a lifeline to clarity and growth. What stings even more is that Sigmas don't look back. When betrayed, they simply let go and move on without hesitation. There are no second chances, no drawn-out drama. They don't need to stay connected to someone who can't respect their loyalty or their principles. The void they leave behind is impossible to fill because people like them don't come around often. And when they're gone, you're left knowing you've lost someone irreplaceable. Number 3. They withdraw without warning, leaving a void. When you betray a Sigma, there's no dramatic confrontation, no loud argument, no desperate plea for explanations. Instead, they withdraw silently, and that quiet departure is more devastating than any outburst could ever be. Sigmas don't waste their time on people who've proven they can't be trusted. The moment the betrayal happens, they've already decided to walk away, and when they do, it's like they were never there. Their withdrawal hits differently because it's not driven by anger or spite. It's pure self-preservation. Sigmas value their peace above all else, and they know that engaging in messy emotional battles only feeds the betrayer's ego. Instead, they cut the cord with surgical precision, leaving no loose ends for you to grab onto. What makes it worse is that they don't offer closure. They don't explain, justify, or debate. They leave you to sit with your own actions and figure out the consequences for yourself. As time goes on, the impact of their absence grows. You start noticing the void they left behind, the unique way they listened, their quiet confidence, their ability to make you see the world differently. Their detachment is haunting because it feels so final. They don't come back to check on you or offer reconciliation. They've moved on, and they've taken their energy, insight, and loyalty with them. The regret sets in when you realize they're not just ignoring you. They've erased you from their world entirely. And no matter what you do, you can't get them back. That's the power of a Sigma's withdrawal. It's not just their physical absence that hurts. It's the realization that they've left a part of your life permanently empty. That's a loss you'll carry for a long, long time. Number 4, they're masters of karma. When a Sigma is betrayed, they don't waste time plotting revenge. Instead, they channel their energy into something far more powerful, bettering themselves. They don't need to confront or retaliate because life itself has a way of dealing poetic justice on their behalf. A Sigma's response to betrayal is simple but devastating. They succeed, and they do it without looking back. What makes this form of karma so brutal is its quietness. Sigmas don't brag or flaunt their achievements, they simply move forward, growing stronger and more accomplished. Meanwhile, the person who betrayed them is left watching from the sidelines, haunted by the stark difference between their own stagnant position and the Sigma's undeniable progress. The irony is sharp. What was intended to bring the Sigma down ends up elevating them even higher. The indifference of a Sigma is the final nail in the coffin. They don't acknowledge the betrayer's regret or attempts to reconnect, and this cold detachment is a sting that lingers. The betrayer doesn't just feel guilty, they feel irrelevant. It's not just about losing the Sigma, it's about watching them thrive without a care in the world for what happened. This quiet karma cuts deeper than any direct revenge ever could. It forces the betrayer to face their own shortcomings, to question why they thought they could break someone so resilient. The Sigma doesn't need to lift a finger, because their life becomes a living testament to why betrayal was a colossal mistake. Their success, combined with their refusal to engage in petty battles, becomes a mirror, reflecting the betrayer's failure back at them in the most unflinching way possible. That's the kind of karma only a Sigma can deliver. Number 5, betrayal fuels their growth. For a Sigma, betrayal isn't the end of the story, it's a turning point. While most people might crumble or lash out, Sigmas take betrayal as a challenge, a lesson, and ultimately an opportunity. They don't wallow in self-pity or waste time seeking revenge. Instead, they dig deep, analyze the situation, and figure out how to come out of it stronger. When betrayed, a Sigma doesn't just look at the surface. You lied. You broke trust. They go deeper, asking themselves, what did I miss? What can I learn? How can I ensure this never happens again? This level of introspection helps them refine their judgment and tighten their boundaries. They become even better at identifying red flags and distancing themselves from toxic individuals before any real harm can be done. The irony is that the betrayal only adds to their strength. They emerge from the experience with sharper instincts and a deeper understanding of human nature. While the betrayer might have thought they'd weaken the Sigma, they inadvertently become the reason the Sigma grows. This dynamic leaves the betrayer feeling insignificant, reduced to nothing more than a stepping stone in the Sigma's path to self-improvement. What sets Sigmas apart is their refusal to let betrayal define them. Instead of letting the pain consume them, they turn it into fuel. They use the lessons to improve their focus, refine their goals, and elevate their life to a new level. The person who betrayed them, they become a distant memory, a minor character in a much larger, more meaningful story. And the ultimate twist? While the Sigma grows and thrives, the betrayer is left behind, grappling with the realization that their betrayal didn't break the Sigma. It made them unstoppable. Number 6, Their betrayal will be a painful reminder. When someone betrays a Sigma, they often underestimate just how resilient and adaptable Sigmas truly are. While most people might get stuck in the pain of betrayal, Sigmas have an unmatched ability to pivot, recalibrate, and come back even stronger. They see setbacks not as failures, but as stepping stones to something greater. Betrayal might sting, but it never derails them. It fuels their determination to thrive. This ability to succeed in the face of adversity is what makes betrayal of a Sigma so uniquely painful for the betrayer. The moment the Sigma begins to rise, their success becomes a constant, unavoidable reminder of what the betrayer lost. There's no escaping the sting of watching someone you wronged excel in ways you never anticipated. Sigmas don't just move on, they excel on levels that make their absence impossible to ignore. They succeed not out of spite, but because it's in their nature to keep growing, evolving, and mastering their craft. Whether it's professional achievements, personal growth, or simply the calm confidence they radiate, their progress is a glaring contrast to the betrayer's stagnation. What makes this even more painful is the realization of missed opportunities. Sigmas don't just thrive on their own, they elevate those around them. Their presence is inspiring, their perspective invaluable, and their support transformative. To betray a Sigma is to burn a bridge to someone who could have helped you reach heights you might not achieve on your own. The regret deepens with every milestone the Sigma achieves, every moment they prove they never needed you to begin with. Their success is a living reminder of your mistake, and it's one you'll see again and again every time their name crosses your path. That's a weight no apology can lift. And number 7, they're unforgivable in subtle but lethal ways. When you betray a Sigma, you might think you've escaped unscathed because they don't lash out or seek immediate revenge. On the surface, it may even seem like they've forgiven you. They'll remain calm, composed, and civil, giving no indication of the storm brewing beneath their quiet demeanor. But Sigmas never truly forget, and that's where their subtle but lethal form of unforgiveness lies. Sigmas have a unique way of letting karma do the work for them. They don't need to orchestrate elaborate payback because they understand something most people overlook. Life has a way of balancing the scales. Instead of getting their hands dirty, they step back and let the natural consequences of your betrayal unfold. This patience is what makes their revenge so devastating, because it's not even revenge, it's just reality catching up with you. What makes this approach so lethal is the lack of warning. Sigmas don't announce their withdrawal or cut ties with fanfare. They simply shift their focus, redirecting their energy toward things and people that actually matter. Over time, you start to feel the weight of their absence. You notice that doors that were once open to you are now closed because of their influence, and opportunities you took for granted have dried up. Meanwhile, Sigmas continue to thrive, their indifference like salt in the wound. They don't need to remind you of your mistake. Their success and unshakable calm do that for them. The regret of betraying them lingers because you're left to face the void they left behind, knowing full well they've moved on without a second thought. In the end, their subtle form of unforgiveness is far more punishing than any direct retaliation could ever be. And number 8, they never depend on the betrayer. Betraying a Sigma is a uniquely frustrating experience for the betrayer because it doesn't leave the Sigma broken, stranded, or desperate. Sigmas are fiercely independent by nature, both emotionally and practically. They've built their lives in a way that doesn't rely on anyone else for their stability or happiness. When you betray them, they don't collapse. Instead, it becomes glaringly obvious just how little they ever needed you. This independence bruises the ego of the betrayer in ways they didn't anticipate. Many betrayals are rooted in power dynamics, with the betrayer assuming their actions will have a significant impact on the other person's life. But with a Sigma, that assumption crumbles. The betrayal doesn't derail their life, it barely scratches the surface. Instead of reacting with desperation or anger, the Sigma moves forward as though nothing happened, which makes the betrayer feel small and irrelevant. What's worse is that Sigmas don't give you the satisfaction of drama or confrontation. Their lack of dependence means they don't need closure or resolution. They simply detach, and that detachment is crushing. You're left grappling with the realization that not only did your betrayal fail to harm them, but your role in their life was never as important as you thought it was. Over time, the sting deepens as you watch them thrive without you, their life completely unaffected by your actions. The contrast is stark. While you're struggling with regret and the emptiness left by their absence, they're thriving in the same self-reliant way they always have. The realization that you were never indispensable to them isn't just humbling, it's devastating. Betraying a Sigma doesn't weaken them. It only reveals how little power you ever had over them in the first place. Number 9, their absence highlights their value. Sigmas don't need to be the loudest or most attention-grabbing people in the room to make an impact. In fact, they often prefer to observe rather than dominate the conversation. But here's the thing. Their quiet presence has a weight to it, one that's felt even when they're not speaking or actively participating. When a Sigma leaves, they don't just fade into the background. They create a void that's impossible to ignore. Betraying a Sigma often leads to a slow realization for the betrayer. They didn't just lose someone who was easy to replace. They lost someone irreplaceable. This becomes painfully evident as time passes and the betrayer tries to fill that void with other people or distractions. No matter how many people come and go, nothing truly fills the space the Sigma once occupied. The value of a Sigma isn't in their loud assertions or demands for attention, it's in the quiet depth they bring to any relationship or environment. They offer perspective, insight, and an unwavering sense of self that others often lean on without realizing. When they're gone, that steady influence is gone too. The room feels emptier, the conversations less sharp, and the connections less meaningful. The betrayer begins to feel the weight of their actions when they realize that the Sigma wasn't just a background figure, they were a foundational part of their life. That absence isn't just a loss of a person, it's a loss of everything that person represented. Wisdom, loyalty, calm, and strength. What was once taken for granted now becomes a glaring reminder of what was lost. And the longer the Sigma stays away, the more undeniable it becomes. The betrayal didn't just cost them a person, it cost them someone who was truly one of a kind. Number 10, they become unreachable. When a Sigma is betrayed, they don't waste time lingering in a space where trust has been broken. Unlike others who might leave the door slightly ajar, hoping for an apology or a chance at reconciliation, Sigmas don't leave breadcrumbs for anyone to follow. They don't let you try to fix things or offer a half-hearted redemption. They vanish completely, disappearing from your orbit in a way that feels both abrupt and absolute. This disappearance isn't about dramatic exits or grand gestures. It's about their ability to simply walk away and make it clear that they're no longer a part of your world. Their departure is final, leaving no room for follow-up messages, last-ditch attempts, or false hope. There's no waiting around for you to realize your mistake. The moment they decide they're done, they're gone, and the finality of that decision is often more painful than any confrontation could ever be. For the betrayer, the impact of this finality hits when regret inevitably sets in. In their mind, there might have been an expectation that they could win the Sigma back with time, apologies, or a change of heart. But when the Sigma is gone, they're truly unreachable. The cold silence left in their wake becomes deafening. No matter how many attempts to reach out, no matter how much time passes, the Sigma is not coming back. This is where the pain of betrayal becomes unbearable. The betrayer realizes that they don't just lose a person, they lose access to a unique, irreplaceable energy, someone who had the power to make their life better, richer, and more fulfilling. And now, because of their actions, that person is gone forever. There's no second chance, no opportunity for closure, just the suffocating realization that they've burned the bridge beyond repair. In the end, betraying a Sigma is a mistake that can't be undone. Sigmas aren't like most people. Their strength lies in their self-sufficiency, their ability to thrive on their own, and their rare ability to let betrayal fuel their growth rather than break them. When you betray a Sigma, you're not just losing a person, you're losing an irreplaceable force. They don't need you to succeed, and when you cross them, you're not just rejected, you're made irrelevant. Their absence will highlight everything you took for granted, quietly, without drama, but with a power that cuts deeper than anything direct retaliation could achieve. While you flounder in regret, watching them grow stronger and more successful without you, the Sigma moves on, unbothered, as if you were never there. Their detachment becomes a mirror reflecting your failure, and the realization that you've burned a bridge to someone who could have lifted you higher becomes an undeniable truth. In the end, a Sigma's response to betrayal isn't loud or dramatic. It's calm, calculated, and final. They don't engage in petty games or revenge. They let life handle the rest, and when it does, it's a harsh reminder that the one person you thought you could afford to lose was the one person you never should have betrayed. If you found this insight into the mind of a Sigma as eye-opening as we did, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join the family for more content that's not just entertaining, but also makes you think, laugh, and maybe even rethink a few things about life. You won't want to miss what's coming next, so subscribe and let's keep this journey going. You won't regret it. See you in the next one. Bye for now and see you in the next video.